What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video. In today's video, I will be comparing my rankings to that of current best ball ADPs. Now, this isn't perfect, right? Since best ball drafts are slightly different than redraft, but it's the best that we can do right now. And honestly, a lot of the times it is better. Like, would you rather see what a bunch of free ESPN leagues are doing right now, or what people who are paying money to draft in early April are doing, right? Like, the latter is definitely going to give you a better sense of what to expect when the season actually happens. So that's what we're going to do right now. Also remember, you can use promo code FFA. You've got a little over 20 days left to use that, or else you'll be paying full price for access to all the content on the site. I've added a ton to the rankings this season, and there is still more to come. So check that out at our website, thefantasyfootballadvice.com. All right, let's get things started off with the stat of the day. Tuesday's stat was last season, which tight end boasted the league's best catch rate at the position? The answer is Robert Tonyan. And Jacob Massive was the first to get that on YouTube, and @_Oliver_ was first to get that on Twitter. Today's stat: there are 4 active running backs with at least 50 receptions in each of their first 3 seasons. Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, Tariq Cohen, and who is the 4th? Okay, so let's see who you guys are drafting a little bit too early. So one big, group that jumped out to me was the rookies. Now, you guys were calling me like Mr. Rookie last season because I loved last season's rookie class. I mean, I was leaving drafts with just all of those guys. So much of my team was rookies last season, so I'm sure this is a little surprising. But I mean, last season we had Dobbins, Jonathan Taylor, Swift, Ayuk, Higgins, like the list goes on and on and on, just incredible talent. But that was last season's rookie class, right? That doesn't mean that every single year the rookie class is amazing. Now, this season has some great wide receivers. So I agree with the ADP on a lot of those guys. You're going to see a lot of rookie wide receivers on my mock drafts, on my teams. But I do not agree with the public's current stance on the rookie running backs. This class is trash. Like, I am sorry if I'm the first to tell you, but this is not a good running back class. And I mean, I'm not fully done the research on every single running back, but I've done a lot of the top guys, and it is gross. Okay, and I'll just say this. So we've got Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, and Javonte Williams. You're going to hear those names a lot. Those are pretty clearly, in my opinion, the top 3 running backs in the draft class. And I don't think their ADPs are like egregious. They're still being taken too early, and I'll cover that in a second. But I think they're going a little early. There's not like horrible. Like, you can still draft them because those are the 3 that I think have a path to a 3-down workload, have a path to being pretty good in fantasy this season. But people are getting a little bit carried away with like the rest of the rookie running backs. Like, there is a cliff after those first 3, and so those other running backs are going to need to land in just like the dream spot to be worth it. Chuba Hubbard, he's going in the late 10th round. Kenny Gainwell goes in the 9th round. Michael Carter in the 12th round. It's just too early for these guys right now. I mean, it's really just that top 3 that I mentioned: Harris, Etienne, and Javonte. Those guys, like I said, they have that path to a 3-down workload, and that's what we're looking for. Like, if a rookie doesn't even have a path to a 3-down workload, and I don't even know what a team he's on, why am I spending a pick to get him? Like, there is still plenty of talent available in those later rounds that I'm just going to stick to those first 3, but also don't reach, because like I said, those 3 are also going a tad early. Najee going in the 3rd round, Etienne going in the 4th, Williams in the 5th. Like, come on, there's so many elite players in that range that maybe after the draft, if one of those or 2 of those guys lands in a beautiful spot, well, now we can start taking them in that range. But until we know that, you're just assuming it. Those ADPs, you're just assuming that they are going to land in great spots, are going to be featured at this season. Like, I don't know. It's just a little early for me. So basically every single rookie running back going a bit too early, I would probably avoid most of them. Another guy you can avoid is actually another pairing of players, and that is the 49ers running backs, both Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert. Wilson is being taken in the 9th round. Mostert goes in the early 7th round. Here's the thing with the 49ers, though. you can't trust really any of their running backs, right? Like, especially from a season-long standpoint. Maybe there are times throughout the season where, oh, Jeff Wilson's injured and their other running backs aren't doing great, and it's only going to be Mostert this week. Well, then we can kind of trust them. But in general, when there aren't mass injuries, they just use a committee. Like, Shanahan has been the head coach since 2017, and their leading rusher each season has been Carlos Hyde, 938 rushing yards, then Breida, 814 rushing yards, then Mostert, 772, and finally Jeff Wilson last season with only 600 rushing yards. It has been 4 years since they've given a single running back more than 155 carries in a season. And you know what? Like, that's Devin Singletary level volume last season. That is not something that's just like crazy. It's not like, oh, wow, nice, we got 155 carries. That's barely anything. And they also don't really throw to the running backs all that much either. And so I know a lot of that was partly just like due to injuries, but it's also partly scheme. It's partly coaching tendencies. Like, Shanahan is loyal to absolutely no one. So if you get hurt and your backup plays well, which it's a good system, the backup might play well, he's not necessarily going to go back to you when you're healthy. And if we look at these two specifically, Mostert's 29 years old. He's never had 800 rushing yards. So I get it can be exciting when he busts off long runs, but he's 29. He's never been to 800 rushing yards in a season. So let's be honest. What are the odds that this is the first year he's going to do that? And you look at Wilson, he's always been a backup. They signed him for 1 year, $2 million. And he'd probably need an injury to Mostert to be the lead back or to get any sort of like real workload that we can rely on in fantasy. So his role isn't really all that secure. And would it surprise anyone if the 49ers were to draft a running back? Not at all. So I just don't see how you could spend a 7th or 9th round pick on these two. Like, here's the list of players going after Raheem Mostert that I'd absolutely take before him. Juju, Deebo Samuel, Curtis Samuel, Fournette, Laviska, A.J. Dillon, Devonta Smith. And I know some of those are wide receivers, but that's my point, is that you don't have to take a running back in this range, right? Like, what are you doing taking Mostert or Wilson over those guys? Like, the opportunity cost at other positions is just so high for you to take a speculative pick at running back. Save the speculation for the very, very last rounds, because you're missing out on some quality players by taking this two, and you're not really gaining all that much in return. Like, it would be one thing if every single position just fell off a cliff in this range, and so it's like, all right, well, I guess I'll take a running back because all these positions are bad. But don't be the first person to take the garbage that's left at the only position that's really seeing a massive drop-off. Get your running backs before that drop-off happens, or just wait till the very end and take some shots. Like, there's no need to be guessing on these two guys in the middle rounds. Another running back that people are overdrafting is Ronald Jones. Now, everyone loves to think about the upside if he gets featured, including myself. I would love for Ronald Jones to be a featured weapon in an offense, and especially this offense. He could be so good. But let's be honest, that's just not going to happen while Fournette is there. Bruce Arians hates Ronald Jones, and while we never believe anything he says, it's somewhat telling that they featured Fournette in the playoffs, and he played well. Then they paid Fournette, and Arians has been hyping up Vaughn. Like, Ronald Jones is a talented running back. He is. And he could produce in fantasy if they used him. But you're relying on a Fournette injury with this one, so he probably should not be going in the 7th round. It's the same thing as Mostert and Wilson. If I'm taking a running back in this range, I better have a good feeling he's going to be used a lot, and that's just not the case with Ronald Jones. I don't think it's the most likely outcome. I don't even think it's the 2nd or the 3rd most likely outcome, so I'd be avoiding him. And the final running back, guys are overdrafting, is Myles Gaskin. And I wanted to bring this up partly because I get so many questions. Like, why are you passing on Gaskin? He's like the lead back. You're going to feature him. He's going in the 7th round as well. And yeah, I agree with you. If he were the lead back and they were going to feature him, of course that's a great value in the 7th round. But that's probably not going to happen, right? I mean, every indication we've had so far seems to be that that will not be the case. And I would be surprised if it was. He had a great stretch last season, was great in fantasy. But he was great in fantasy, right? Like, he was being used a ton, getting a lot of touches, getting a lot of receptions. In reality, for like a football standpoint, it's just okay, right? 4.1 yards per carry, 0 games over 92 rushing yards, despite 4 games with at least 18 carries. He ranked 13th in carries inside the 10, 18th in carries inside the 5, but ranked 44th and 42nd in touchdowns in those areas, respectively. I mean, Malcolm Brown and Jared Goff had more red zone rushing touchdowns than Myles Gaskin. So the Dolphins look back and like, okay, we took him in like the mid-7th a few years ago. He's got like below average athleticism. He's shown below average efficiency as a pro. Come on, like, I find it very hard to believe the Dolphins' plan right now is to feature him this season. I expect them to bring on another running back to compete for that job, and I don't expect Gaskin to win that battle. So I just can't recommend taking him even close to where he's going right now, which is realistically in the middle rounds of drafts. So those are a few players that you guys are taking a little bit too early right now. If you want to see my exact rankings on every single player among different scoring formats, and you can check that out at our website, thefantasyfootballadvice.com. Sign up for any package before May 1st with promo code FFA and get 15% off. But that, my friends, is the end of this one. Hope you all did enjoy. If you did, then how about hitting that like button? And how about subscribing to the channel if you're new? Thanks for watching.